Hey everyone, John here with a plethora of Switch 2 news because it never stops, and we are beginning with a game announcement. Drum roll please. Farming Simulator Signature Edition is coming to Nintendo Switch 2 on a Game Key card. Also Pokemon stuff. Pokemon Legends has been dated and given a box art. So this game is coming to us October 16th on Nintendo Switch 1 and Nintendo Switch 2. And in their tweet they say, in addition to the Nintendo Switch title, a Nintendo Switch 2 edition will offer improved graphics and frame rates. The digital and physical versions of Pokemon Legends ZA can be upgraded to the Nintendo Switch 2 version via an upgrade pack. And here is the box art, both for the Switch 1 version and the Switch 2 version. They are identical, apart from the Switch 2 one has all that text about upgrade packs. And if you're out of the loop, all this stuff is on the cartridge. You'll get both the base game and the upgrade pack on the cartridge. There are no additional downloads. That is the case for the majority of Switch 2 editions. But yeah, that's the key takeaway. Pokemon Legends ZA is launching in October. Not that far away, considering the system will be launching in a week in June. So one of the fastest times that Pokemon's ever come to a brand new console. In fact, I can't think of a faster time. I remember that Pokemon Black and White launched like a month before the 3DS, so you could play it on the 3DS, but it's not a 3DS game, whereas this time, native Switch 2 version. But let's not stop, because there's a whole lot more with Pokemon, because a Pokemon Presents has been announced. Pokemon Presents will air July 22nd this year, not next year. So there'll be even more Pokemon stuff, probably a big blowout on Pokemon Legends and a bunch of mobile stuff for 20 minutes, but maybe a brand new game. I kind of figure that Switch 2 would be the ideal time to bring back Pokemon Ranger, because that's a game about drawing circles using the stylus, and the mouse can pretty much replicate that, while the handheld mode can just use the touchscreen as per usual. Feels perfect, but who knows? Who knows what's going to be in there? Do you know? You might do if you work at the Pokemon company. I don't know. Our audience doesn't say. But you also might be wondering, how much is Pokemon Legends gonna cost? Well, I can tell you what it costs in yen, and then we can guess what it costs everywhere else. So Pokemon Legends ZA for Nintendo Switch is going to cost 7,100 yen, whereas Pokemon Legends ZA for Nintendo Switch 2 is going to cost 8,100 yen. So an extra 1,000 yen for that upgrade pack. And you might have no point of reference for that. I barely have a point of reference for that. Let's see how much that costs in comparison to other Nintendo Switch 2 editions. So this 8,100 yen is cheaper than Breath of the Wild Switch 2 edition, Tears of the Kingdom Switch 2 edition, Rune Factory Switch 2 edition, Mario Party Jamboree Switch 2 edition, Kirby Switch 2 edition, and to compare it to a brand new game, it's slightly more expensive than Donkey Kong Bonanza. So this is definitely a bit more premium when charging for that upgrade pack. So we'll see what they charge in the West. But this might end up being a $70 game. But to keep things moving on, many more people have found their own Nintendo Switch 2 early because retailers are just being flooded with the things now, especially in certain countries. And people have verified that while you can't play Nintendo Switch 1 games without an update, because they've got to be checked against the backwards compatibility list, you can play regular native Switch 2 games with no system update. So you can simply get the console, put a cartridge in, and play the game. There's no need for internet. That is a bit of miscommunication going around right now, that the Switch 2 needs internet to even function. It's not the case. If you want to play your backwards compatible games, yes. But as of right now, no. You can just chuck in the Mario Kart cartridge, or a Donkey Kong cartridge, or a Cyberpunk cartridge, and get playing. There's nothing to stop you. And there are plenty of pictures of the system online now. I'm not going to post them here because I fear the legal ramifications, but people have verified the themes of the console. Whew. And we have basic white, basic black. That's it. And the final piece of news is Nintendo Switch got a firmware update. The system now runs on version 20.10, which was the same system update that was shown during Nintendo Switch 2 demonstrations of the menu. So this is the same firmware Switch 2 is going to be running. So what has changed? What's changed? Whoa, check this out. You hear that? That is the Nintendo Switch 2 beep sound for Nintendo Switch Online. They've changed it to make it more uncommon. which means now we have the same game share beep and the same online beep. Everything else is kind of the same as it always has been, but those are the same. But this menu has pretty much been transformed into a Switch 2 menu, so you've already got your Switch 2 experience. But the actual Nintendo Switch Online app itself, the little page here, has also been updated to reflect the Switch 2 as well. This is my first time actually booting up the Switch 2 version. It says, "Welcome to Nintendo Switch Online, the paid service designed to enhance your Nintendo Switch 2 and Nintendo Switch gaming experience." And one different thing here is there's now a basic white and basic black version of this store. So if you have a dark mode, you can see it in dark mode, whereas it used to just be the white mode. But this seems a little bit faster than usual. Still a bit sluggish, but much faster than it used to be, which is great. But one of the best things about this app, we'll explore all of it, but this is one of the best things, is this feels less cluttered than it used to. This has seemed a bit different when showcased on a Switch 2, but for those who don't know, you can boot up basically anything from this app and just jump straight into a game. So when this comes out on Switch 2 and things are less sluggish, it's going to be delightful just to be able to jump into this and immediately play any game across all your NSO libraries without filtering into them. Because as you can see right here, not only does it boot up the N64 app, but we go straight into GoldenEye, which is awesome. So I can't wait for this to be less sluggish. But let's go back into the NSO app a moment, and we're just going to explore a bit more about what this thing has to offer with its facelift. So this is the main menu that we're greeted with, and we can sort through different things here, talking about the Switch 2, GameCube, new icons. There's some new Splatoon icons. Splatoon's on Nintendo Music now. I like these different colored Game Boys. I grew up with the yellow Game Boy Pocket in the top right over there. Man, these are nice. Cool. So that's all the stuff that's been added. We can ignore that one. Ignore that one. And let's look at the missions and rewards. Something I don't really use because I always found this app so sluggish to use. But yeah, you can get some cool-ass Game Boy icons. Look at all of these. There's so many. Or Game Boy Advance. Beautiful. Whatever that game is. Yeah, some cool stuff. It does feel a lot faster than it used to, even on the Switch 1. And then we get exclusive offers, like games, such as F-Zero and Tetris. And you can get the exclusive offer to buy things. How generous. Online play. Show you games that you can play online. All the different apps that they have via the smartphone. And then, of course, Save Data Cloud. This is going to have all your save data stuff. Which is going to make it very easy to bring over to Nintendo Switch 2 when the time comes. And then the expansion pack, which is just going to be like, hey, did you know that you can play GameCube games, huh? When we click on this, what happens? Free download? Free download, huh? Are you gonna give me the GameCube app? You're not going to give me the GameCube app. No! Cowards. Cowards, cowards, cowards. Not that I could use it on Switch 1 anyway, but they are cowards all the same. They can't lure you in with a free download and then say, no, not for you. What else we got here? Mega Drive, Booster Core stuff, Game Boy Advance, N64. Yeah, cool stuff. And that is most of what we have in this update. It's very much a update to the NSO app, and not a whole lot more. There were some changes to the parental controls settings, which is something I don't tend to use, but you can see there's Bowser and Bowser Jr. with Mario Kart World there. That feels weird to see on Switch 1. And we watched a little introduction video featuring the Switch 2, even though we're on the Switch 1.
It's good to play games.
Crazy world. But yeah, that is the gist of this firmware update. Not a whole lot has been changed. It's mostly the overhaul to NSO. But there you go. We've had some overhauls to NSO. We've had the news icon change. On Switch 2, that's going to be a user thing. Whereas right now, it just mixes all your accounts together, which is horrific because you get all these different regional variants of the same thing. So I can't wait for that to be user-based. But otherwise, we're so close now. We're like a week and a day away. But look forward to Pokemon Presents. Look forward to so much else, fellas. Look forward to Farming Simulator. And I'll catch you next time. Bye, everyone.